Okay, good evening and welcome to the May 12th Palmer Town Council meeting. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we go into visitors' comments, I just want to make a statement. So last month, we had a number of people that attended the budget subcommittee of the town council that were very concerned regarding the town manager's recommendation that the senior center be closed on Thursdays. And at that meeting, I had let everyone know that we couldn't get into a lot of discussion on the senior center that night because it was not on the agenda of our meeting. In addition, can you hear me?
No, or
Do you have the? You can't close the door.
Yeah, no, you can't close the door.
No,
You
because
have
it's a
to open
public meeting. My voice should be, though, transmitting through that speaker. It's not.
It doesn't seem to be that one now.
I hear it. My mic is working.
Heard the scratching.
There you go, that's working. That one's working.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. So now you can hear me?
Better?
I'll try to talk really loud. Okay. Okay. So at that meeting, I had identified that because the senior center was not an agenda item, we couldn't go into a lot of detail at that meeting. But I had also publicly stated that I was not in support of the recommendation of the town manager to close the senior center on that one day. Unfortunately, there was a posting on Facebook that, in my opinion, was very contrary to what happened that night, because for 20 minutes we listened to members of the public voice their concerns about the senior center closing and the importance of the senior center to seniors. And so I just wanted to go on the record to, for anyone who read the postings on Facebook, that what was posted was contrary to what happened at that meeting. Additionally, the questions that the recommendation to put questions in writing was not regarding your comments regarding the the concerns of the senior center closing. I think for 20 minutes that was made perfectly clear. The questions that we asked for to be put in writing were specific questions that we did not have information on. Additionally, the senior center director was not at that meeting, and she might have had some of those answers. So in fairness to her, I think the steps that I took at that meeting were very appropriate given the circumstances. So anyway, fast forward. We have started going through the budget process. We have had the budget subcommittee has had 3 meetings, and I'm happy to report that we have been able to identify $30,000 in other areas of the budget. And so the closing on Thursdays of the senior center is not being moved forward. Everything will remain as it is. So I wanted you to know that. But I do also think that, it's important that the lines of communication stay open. So the other thing that I'm going to discuss tonight, and I'm going to discuss it now just because you're all in the room, is I had reached out to the town manager and I had asked him if he thought this was a good idea. And so what I'm going to propose is that on a monthly basis we have, and we can call it whatever we want, and that's up to the council to decide, but coffee with a counselor, and once a month the counselors would alternate and be able to go to the senior center and discuss with everyone issues that you might have, questions about what's going on in town, etc. And the town manager would also be part of that rotation. So sometimes it might be the town manager, Sometimes it might, it would be one of the counselors. And there's enough of us. I mean, most of us do not work in town during the week. And so this would allow a rotation of counselors, every month. So you would get to talk to a different counselor if they are available. But we'll coordinate all that amongst ourselves. But if we can get that on the calendar, and so I'll be having more conversations with the rest of the council and Marlene and the town manager so that we can get that on the agenda for your meetings. I would like to start that in June so that when I expect that the newsletter, hopefully it did not go out yet, I don't know, for June, but we'd like to get on that calendar. And you guys can start thinking about, but what I'm going to ask when I meet with you is what's troubling to me is the fact that the reason the recommendation was made to close the senior center on Thursdays was because it was reported that that's the day of the least attendance. And so when I hear something like that, my mind immediately goes to, if there is low attendance on Thursday, then what do we need to do? What type of services do we need to offer so that we get people going to the senior center? And so that is the discussion that when I meet with you in June, whatever that date ends up being, and it'll be on your calendar, that's the first discussion that I want to have. Because if we're not pulling people in, that means we're not offering programs that are of interest. And that's what we should be talking about, and that's what we should be changing. So anyway, more to come on that, but I just want you to know that you do not have to be concerned anymore regarding a cut to the senior center for this year. We are going to figure out the money situation, and that will be all set moving forward. Okay? You're welcome. Okay. All right, so now, visitors' comments. Is there anybody who would like to speak?
Steve Cosmater from Thorndike. You took the words out of my mouth for senior center problems, but first thing I'm going to tell you is we need a new senior center.
Can I have a piece of paper?
Okay. Is the public going to be able to see the budget before it's voted on by the town
There'll
council?
be a public hearing in June. So yes, the budget will be posted. So we still have at least one more meeting, if not two, to get through everything as the budget subcommittee. And then I would expect that at our June meeting, which will be June 9th, that would be the public hearing on the budget, and then we would vote it either the week of the 16th or the 23rd. That's what I would expect at this point in time.
Okay, so we'll be able to see a copy of it before.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Next question. Some people are asking where the tax dollar is going, and sometimes they get to see a pie chart of what departments get what.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that people should get to see what's in the pieces of the pie chart. You know, there's a school, police, library, park department, or say public works department,
Yep.
something like that.
We can definitely have the pie chart. I mean, I think that usually it's a lot broader, so it'll be like public safety, education, human resource, but we can definitely pull that down.
we did that when we got a lot of community feedback when tax bills went out. We actually did that for FY25, and I believe it's posted online as well.
But we can get that for the public hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, and also too, the FY26 budget is available online as well, with all the detail and by department.
And also, a couple of years ago, I was at one of these budget meetings, and it was brought up to have copies of the budget at the yearly voting, and that never happened.
Okay, we can make that happen.
'Cause years ago, they had booklets that would show everything that's in the budget, and then that seemed to have died away.
Well,
Probably with the town council meeting, there was no budget committees or anything.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't see like details, but you would see like the department and then like how much their salaries were and how much their expenses were. But you wouldn't see like, you know,
What they purchased or what,
no, you wouldn't see that.
doesn't get
That's-
that deep?
It's not going to get that deep. No, not for a public hearing. No.
But it would be in the budget, in the booklet, or the,
It would just have some totals. It wouldn't show you line by line detail of the DPW purchased 100 feet of fill or something like that. That wouldn't show, but it would give you like a general supplies, what the grand total is outlined for the fiscal year for that.
okay, thank you.
But I can tell you the pie chart though is we did do that for FY 25 because when we got a lot of influx of questions when tax bills went out that we broke it down by department. Yeah, so I can get you a copy of that if you stop in tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Sir.
Good evening, Ken Dolan Del Vecchio. I live at 99 State Street here in Palmer, and I'm here today representing Citizens for Fair Energy Pricing. And I'm just here to say thank you for considering the work that we're doing and considering putting together a letter of support. Thank you, Brad, for bringing that on the agenda, and we'll look forward to hearing how that resolves. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else?
Yeah, can I follow up on one thing too from last meeting? So just one follow up from last meeting, Steve, was a question you had about the sale of Converse. So that funding would only be available and would go towards specifically the purchase of a new building or land per se. So we could do upgrades to anything we purchase. So that money does not get kicked back into the general fund. It goes into a specific sinking fund that we can only utilize to help offset the debt for a new purchase. So again, I think I used the example before, if we buy a new DPW building or put up a new DPW building, that money can go and offset that. But it's not specific to DPW. It can be for any town-wide department.
Okay, I'm going to take the agenda out of order because we do have people that need to leave. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with I, which is Resolution 2025-50. And just let me get there. I know it's going to be the last thing. Okay, so this is Resolution 2025-50. The purpose of this resolution is to authorize a transfer of $194,250 from free cash to the Palmer Public Schools capital project account for heat pump installation. And the reason for this is the schools received a rebate in the amount of $194,250. The rebate was supposed to be paid directly to the vendor, but instead of that happening, the rebate was sent to the town. And so because it was done this way, the money cannot just be put into the account automatically. So what's going to happen is this rebate will close out to free cash, and then we're going to transfer the money from free cash, so it's going to end up being a wash. But we can't just take, even though we received the $194,250, we can't deposit it because of municipal finance. We can't deposit it directly into the project account. Okay, so it will wash on June 30th. It'll all be good. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the transfer of $194,250? Motion by Carl, second by Matt. Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Okay. All right.
That was a no-brainer. That was a no-brainer.
Okay, so next we have Town Clerk Departmental Update. Sue.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Sue.
So we're just a little overview of what goes on in the office, and I'm sure you're pretty much aware of it, but just, we'll give you a brief summary again, some little bit of changes that have happened. So. Okay. So I'm gonna start with the census that goes out to, it's not up there yet. Let's see. Did it take it?
Okay, so that's the next slide. Go back down here.
There you are.
There you go. So this is the slide
Yeah.
that's up there right now. That's your agenda.
You got it. Oh, you had it.
Skipped that one.
There you go.
So the census goes out in December for the year, and it's very important that people respond to it, residents. And this year, we only received 70% back. And I don't know if it's because people have to put postage on it, or they just put it with their junk mail, but we try to reach out and get it back to the office so we can continue on to, it helps with proof of residency, your voting status, housing benefits, school enrollments, and produces the street list. So it's just a reminder, when you get it, is an important document, and I try to make, it doesn't look like a regular piece of junk mail. It's an official document, and it's mandated to be produced.
What happens, Sue, if you don't respond?
So if you're a voter, you get a drop card, which requires postage, and that goes out. It's postage prepaid, and if we don't get it back, you become inactive, and then get to be reactivated again to vote. You have to either inform us or come and register to vote again or go online. So every 3 years, there's a lull. When it's presidential time, we get a lot of people that live in Palmer. Then I don't know where they go for the next 3 years, but they're somewhere, but then they come back.
Right.
So it's just interesting how that works. So the other thing that we did recently was increase the fees on certain vital records and other things that take place in the office. And we also started taking Unipay for debits, and that's been working really well. We have a lot of, Monday morning when I come in, we have a portal of people getting birth, death, and marriage records from different parts of the country.
Oh,
So they
wow.
really are, it's nice, they get it quickly, and so that helped out the office a lot. And then we're getting a lot more revenues from that, not much, but it all helps.
So Unipay is Unibank, so it's a bank, but they offer an online service and they call it Unipay, but it's through a bank, and so it's the bank that the town uses.
So as of today, mostly a variable of a few, but we've had about 101 deaths since this morning, since the beginning of the year. Births are 27, and marriage intentions, we do about 20 so far, but the wave of that comes, people like to get married in June, July, and then it slows down again, so it comes back and forth. So we're busy doing that, because people are always doing one of these things. And then our next thing we're working on is the town election, so that's on June 10th, and it's 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., and it's at the same 2 normal precincts, and then we have what the ballot will look like. It's very exciting. So precinct 1, 2, and 3, that's what the ballot will look like for the voter when they come in. So there's a contested race for planning board and counselor at large. And then for precinct 4, it's the same ballot, but Matthew Lemieux's on that, and there's no race there, so.
Nobody wanted to come.
And applying for an absentee ballot for the election is easy. You can go online, you can call the office, you can stop in, fill it out. For this election, because it's not mandated, we're not mailing out ballots. You have to ask for it. You can come in and vote early, no reason. That will happen 2 weeks before the election. But if you're interested in getting an application, just reach out to the office or to Mary or myself, and we'll make sure that happens for you. And So this is just statistically how the voting numbers changed from the interest of the population from a state election to a town election. And by voting by numbers and voting in person, how the variables change. But the work is the same. You had, for voting by mail, all of the people that requested, and it was 90% of the voters wanted to vote by mail ballot, and that was a lot of work, so. And in-person voting, it was kind of heavy for presidential, but it diminishes severely for like local or just the primaries are not really that, you know, a lot of voters don't come out for that. But it's very expensive to vote by mail, but we do get the state does reimburse us a percentage of what we spend. But that's never gonna go away. I'm sure the next thing will be same-day voter registration, which will be fun. But things are changing, and makes life a little easier for everyone. So in 2025, we just have the town election in June, and then in 2026, we'll have our annual town election, and then a primary will be in September, and then our November election. So next year will be busy again. And dog licenses are always a popular thing, and we are doing better with trying to get people to register their dogs. We run a report with our software, and we send out a notice once or twice to make sure to remind them that they're going to be getting a late fee, so that helps. But it's picked up. People are usually generally, if they,
Now, is that something that we're able to pay for online as well?
not yet, I just wanted to get used to the other stuff, but we will be.
Great.
It's, the only thing with that is I need to have the rabies certificate, and a lot of
Oh,
people,
that's true.
if they don't
Yeah.
have it, then they're like, but. Yep, so we have 1,920 rabies certificates. The vets have to send them by law to us, so we know if you have a dog. So we send out a letter, and I don't know if people think we're sneaking around. They're like, how do you have a dog? So that's how we know. So we send them the form and then tell them to please come in and register them. So we're about,
There's no enforcement on that?
we send a report to the ACO,
Got it.
because, I'm not gonna go out there and say,
No, yeah, banging on doors to give you your money, right? But that's 1,000 dogs out there that are unregistered. Wow.
Right?
if you have any ideas on how to, the only other, if we had a clinic or something, and the dog rabies clinic, and then we could sit,
Yeah.
and just take the licenses then.
Right.
I always thought it would be kind of a good idea if the vets had some sort of state mandate that before you had to license your dog. If it's a state law, then, but some dogs probably don't have the opportunity to go to a vet because if you're not registering your dog, you're probably not doing other things you should be.
Noted.
And we also just finished up our certificates of registration for fuel storage. So the clerk's office sends out the registrations and renewals. So that brings in over $4,000 annually, and that after a certificate of registration is given by the town, the fire departments go out and inspect it, and then we send the registration so we know if the tank has been inspected and everything's in order to get the registration for the next year. So that's always done for April. And we're at 409 business certificates in town, and it's pretty, we get a lot of interest in that. People are either starting in-home businesses or just needing it for their banks when they're doing businesses in town. So there's a lot of that, and we share all of this with different departments, so make sure that taxes are paid and they're zoned in the correct place. So there's a lot of effort that goes into it. You know, a lot of, we work together to make sure we don't want to give somebody something and they think it means more than it is. And we, as you know, posting of records, public records request and meeting deadlines is a very important thing. Residents always are looking for dates and times and making sure that we're following the Mass General law. And thank you.
Thank you.
So I think I have the warrant here for your
Yeah, we're gonna-
signatures for
Yeah,
the,
that's going to be the next item. Did you have any questions for Sue on her presentation?
Thank you, it was really good.
Okay, so we have the warrant for the annual town election. Do you have a motion to sign the warrant? Motion by Matt, second by Carl, all in favor?
Aye.
Do we have it?
There's two, sorry.
that's good, I'm done. You didn't want me to touch it.
Touch anything else? You can move. But you just don't touch the computer.
We'll just wait one more minute, and then we'll go to your next agenda item, okay?
That's for this year, that's, they expire they're good for 4 years, so they're renewals, but that's a high amount. I think local banks now, or any bank, they require a business certificate if you're opening a business account.
Makes sense. You want to just pass it down this way?
Yep. Hold on. Pass them both down.
The next item is Resolution 2025-49, which is to see if the town will adopt the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 110A, which provides that any public office in any city or town may remain closed on any or all Saturdays as may be determined from time to time in a city by the city council. You want to talk about that, Sue?
Sure, so when the Votes Act passed, it changed the timeline to register to vote from 20 days to 10. So elections being held on Tuesdays, it always fall on a Saturday now. So it was, we were told that this section of the law could be used to make Saturday like a holidays, like no business could be conducted, and would just bounce the day to last registration to be the 9th day. But as, you know, I sent the memo, every morning we get, when you go to the RMV or anything, any kind of transaction at the registry, it promotes you. You don't even have the opportunity to say no. It
Right.
automatically registers you to vote. So you have that, you can go online, come in anytime and register to vote. But I'm just thinking it would be, it's being here on a Saturday, if it's just me or one of us has to run out and there's not nobody in the building, it's kind of not that comfortable. But if someone had to make that appointment, we would make sure that somehow they were registered. And there's, like, the times are changing, so you don't really, to come in here and actually fill out a paper is kind of going to the wayside. So I was just asking if that's something that you know, would work. I would, you know, I see both sides of it.
So isn't part of it too, though, you just have to have the voter registration card available on Saturday, correct? So if they come in to vote,
No, this is just voter registration.
I understand, but what I'm saying is, so like there's like the voter registration card that they fill out,
Yeah.
right? So I think that you just have to have that available on a Saturday. So for instance, like if you said that they could pick it up at the the police station, that would qualify for being opened on Saturday.
So just, I could probably leave some sort of direction to go down to the police department and grab a voter registration card and
And
leave
then
it
like
there.
put it back in, like have the box back there in the back of the building open. I'm just saying, like, I think that's, but you're saying that the Secretary of State's office has said that that the 9 days by voting this.
If you accept this chapter of the law, that Saturday doesn't, you do not have to suffice to that. So I did run a little report here, and then just for March 2024 last year, nobody came. September 3rd, 2024, one person came, and for the presidential, October 26th, 4 people.
What's the hours you have to be, like, so if you pushed it back and it was Friday?
9 to 5.
Okay. So you still potentially would be in the building part of the day on Friday?
Yeah.
But I think you could also do it at something to think about.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if the library was going to be open, because during certain hours, the library, I thought, was a good avenue for that, because there's people around, you could maybe set up a little table.
Right, yep, okay.
This doesn't really change anything though, right? It just for voting, right? Because you're
It's
here
not,
on,
no, it's not for voting, it's just to register.
oh, it's just registered.
Because
So,
when
because
we
you are
have-
here on Saturdays for voting, right?
Yeah, so
Right.
that, but certain elections, you don't have to, so for this town election, it's not mandated that you have that,
Got it.
so,
So you
The
could
other-
leverage this.
right.
Got it. Understood.
Is there anything else that, any other business that we might want to conduct on a Saturday that this law, if we accept it, would make it so that we can't?
What's the language in it?
I think the language makes it optional.
It's in our packet. I
Oh, it's right
think.
here. I see it now.
Yeah.
It's very small.
Yep.
That's why I passed right by it.
I mean, it does say may.
It says may
Right,
remain.
Oh, so you just have the option. This just gives you the leverage to do it if you didn't want to be here.
Right.
So there's no exclusion of business.
Yeah. May remain closed on any or all Saturdays, as may be determined from time to time. It's typical MGL language.
okay. You would like us to vote this?
I would.
Okay. So do I have a motion to adopt the provisions of MGL Chapter 41, Section 110A?
Do it again.
Motion by Jess, second by Carl. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Sue.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, and if you notice the nice steps out there, it
Yes?
took so long to get those steps, and they did a very nice job, so.
They look great.
Is the rail up?
It is now, yeah. Okay, next we have Veterans Services Department updates. Tina Broman, our Veterans Service Officer. Hi,
Hello,
Tina.
good evening. I'm Tina Broman, the Veteran Service Officer in town. There's been a lot going on. I don't know how detailed you want to be, but I've been trying to keep very busy. There's been a lot going on statewide. They changed a program completely different than what we had for processing claims. So that's been a huge, huge process since the state didn't give us any training until very last minute. So we're getting through that. Chapter 115 is still the same. We're coming up on 2 conferences, one in June and one in July. June is the state conference. It's through the Massachusetts Association of Veteran Service Officers. It's always held in June, and then there's also one in October. Goes over everything talks about different law changes, asks us in Massachusetts, all the VSOs are there, so it asks if we want anything changed, any suggestions, things like that. So it's really helpful. I'm also nationally accredited, the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers, and they have their big annual conference is in July. That is, obviously, it's on a national level, so they deal with a lot of the everything. They deal with everything. We're mostly in Massachusetts, we're dealing with the statewide things. We do touch on the federal, but obviously national is much bigger and does a lot more. Locally, I've been trying to do a lot of different things for the community, veterans and their families, keeping busy. I can't fundraise. Learned that last year being a municipal employee, so I've partnered with, I am an officer at the AMVET, so I take on a different role, and we've been doing a lot of fundraising and being able to do some activities for veterans and their guests, so that's been pretty exciting. We just went on a bus trip to American Heritage Museum. I've been wanting to do it for 2 years, and it was absolutely fantastic, and I've already had requests for other people to do another bus because I had to turn people away. So maybe that'll be coming up, but it's like expensive. Monthly, I do Building Bridges lunch. If you don't know what that is, it's a luncheon for free for veterans and a guest, and it's from 12 to 1. We have it at the AMVETS. It's always a hot meal. I've been told it's always good. I'm doing the cooking for that. It's a great time for veterans, the camaraderie. They bring friends. They've brought caregivers. We just had one of our veterans in town turn 106 this past week, and he comes every month, and we sang happy birthday to him. He's amazing, and if you sit with him, he can't hear very well, but he can talk about everything and his experiences, and it's a wonderful just to sit with him, and it's an opportunity. Everybody kind of takes a turn to sit with him. So we started off last year when we did it in July with approximately 30 people, and now we've grown more to over 50. This past Friday when we had it, I asked where people were from, because it's not just Palmer community, it's open to everyone. And we had people from Springfield, Brookfield, Warren, Munson, Hadley, Granby, South Hadley. I think that's about it, but we pretty much fill the room, so it's pretty amazing. Holiday, there was, at the holiday dinner, which was prime rib, it kind of got snuck out that that's what they were serving. There was about 75 people there. So our numbers keep growing. I'm excited about it. It's doing exactly what we wanted for people to do. There's people who were pretty much shut-ins. They lose their spouse. They don't have anything to do. So they're able to come out and they see someone that they grew up with, and they just have a great time, and they're eating food and they're getting full. And it might be the only meal or hot meal or homemade, meal that they've had all week or a month or something. So we also, if there's leftovers, we'll give them to the shut-ins or, whoever needs it. So that's the second Friday of every month from 12 to 1. The next one is June 13th. I highly recommend, no, I don't recommend, I need you to RSVP because those numbers are growing. So I have everyone just call me, leave a message, and I don't have to call you back. If I call you back, that means that there's no room. I'm letting you know. But thank goodness we haven't had to run into that. Every third Wednesday, we have a Veterans Coffee Hour, and that is from 10 to 11:30. Since taking it over last year, I've been trying to have a speaker that is relevant to what our needs are, what the community needs are, what the veterans' needs are, and the families. For example, we had a Medicare expert come in and talked about everything about insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, things like that. We have someone coming in this coming month that's going to be talking about different things that happen maybe once you can't stay in your home anymore, what the options are, how to do it, an easy flow into that different lifestyle, if you want to say, that different part of your life. So we're just trying to get the information out there and have relevant conversations and not sit there and bore people. It goes for about 10, 15 minutes, and then it's open for discussion, and we just have, you know, coffee and pastries and another way to have camaraderie again, you know, from 10 to 11:30. So that's the third Wednesday. So the next one is going to be May 21st. We have had a phenomenal success at a meat raffle. If you guys have seen it advertised, it's another fundraiser. We get a whole bunch of meat from Arnold's. They package it for us, and then it's $20 per ticket, 26 chances to win. There's also a $100 bill on there and 2 special prizes, which when you put your first ticket, the big ticket in with your number, you can put your name on it. You put it in, so you have 3 chances to win the $100 bill or the 2 special raffle prizes for free because you've already put it in there. So then you still have your other 26 chances to win some sort of a meat package. And we've had amazing success. The first one went well, and the second one went even better. You were there.
I participated. I
Yes,
didn't win
you-
anything, but I participated. It
So,
was fun.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. It's very, very easy. It's not complicated. People come in, get their tickets, they sit, I explain it. It's instant gratification because once you put your tickets in, we go and we pull them and you win. And if you want to leave, you can leave. If you want to wait till the 11th one, great. But it's a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing it. I did anyway.
It was like max an hour. That was it. You're in and out.
Yeah,
It was
that's-
really quick.
I don't want to waste anybody's time. I don't want to waste my time. It's out. It's done. So we have it perfected. So the big thing that's coming up in May at the end of this month is the Memorial Day Parade. I left flyers in all of your boxes, but I was going to email you, but I was going to be here, so I'm formally inviting you to the Memorial Day Parade. Unfortunately, I won't be there. My son's running his first marathon in Buffalo in in honor of my mother-in-law, so I will be up there cheering him on, not running. But I do have everything arranged. I've sent out the proper emails to people, and the commander of the AMVETS, Paul Gravelin, is going to be running it. He used to be a VSO, so he's very familiar with what the process is. It's going to be, like last year we had it at St. Thomas Church on Thorndike Street. We're going to be gathering there at about 10:15 or so. Step off is going to be 10:45. Same route, go down, take a left on Main Street, go down, take a left on Center, go down, take a left on Converse, and you're there. So that will all be the same. Nothing's changing with that. I had questions again about why we weren't going all the way up to the Mass Pike, because that's where they used to start. That's the first year I did it. We were up at the Mass Pike, and I said, what the heck is going on here? It's a long walk. Most of the people who are marching are older. So why should we walk down, even though it's just a hill, we're walking downhill, but it's hot. Usually it's so hot and there's nobody there. So everyone starts at the church. It's perfect. Everybody loves it. And it's a little bit shorter. So anybody have questions about that? There'll be flags. I'll have flags for you again. Let's see. That's that. Just trying to keep busy with the conferences, with learning new things, and making sure that everything is in order for the veterans and for them to get what they need, and keeping up with the resources.
Great. Sounds like you have your hands full, so thank you. Any questions for Tina?
How are we looking for numbers this year? I know every year we talk around the budget time, like how are we, the numbers of the veterans that we're serving for the community versus last year or this year?
So like Chapter 115?
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's kind of even. Unfortunately, from November until probably February, we had a lot of losses.
That's not good.
Unfortunately. But then we had an uptake of, honestly, a bunch of these apartments were bought. And they were, one of the owners of the buildings is a veteran. So he came to me, and I know he went to other communities and says, hey, I have these buildings I remodeled, and they were, I guess, really bad before. And he's like, I want to get people in here, and if you have veterans, I'd love to house veterans if there's anyone homeless or in need. And of course, they have other people in there too, but they reached out to me. So we've had other people from Hadley, Springfield, Greenfield, come into our community because of the housing situation is so terrible everywhere else. So not only are we just having new families move in on the regular, or people getting out of the military, or seeing all these, because I really try to do outreach. And so I have Vietnam, Korean vets coming in. Actually, the person I was just talking about, the 106-year-old, or we also have a 104-year-old. They finally came in and they actually got a disability rating.
Wow.
Like, so it's a constant outreach, and people are hearing more things, so people are coming in. Doesn't matter what the age is. You know, I don't have very many young veterans coming in yet, but that's all the mentality of, I don't need it, somebody else does. And I'm trying to break through that too, with the understanding of, yes, you do. And the money's not going to go away. So if you're sitting here and you haven't done anything, you need to make an appointment with me, because the money's not going to go away. The numbers create the money. It will be there through the state and through the federal.
What do they pay a month?
I'm sorry?
For a landlord out there, what do they pay a month?
For here, it varies. It depends on what the unit is. I've seen 1,200. I've seen, I know of a place right now that is $1,000. It's beautiful. It's just like they just did it over. It's just all you walk in, you need your toothbrush and your underwear. That's it. You walk in, everything is there for you. It's $1,000, includes everything. So I mean, $1,000 seems like a lot, but that's electricity. That's your heat. That's your water. That's everything. So if you just have $1,000 and you just throw it on there, that's great. You don't have to worry about everything else.
The traveling nurses do about 2,000.
Yeah, yep. So it just depends. I mean, that would be great for a traveling nurse. I thought of that too. But so we do have, housing available. We do have, I have one homeless veteran that we've been trying to get housed for a while. It's all about choices, but we're out there trying to do outreach and really connect with people. And I think he's on his way. So I'm happy to report that. Yeah.
Any other questions?
It's great.
Not a question, just a comment.
Mm-hmm.
The Light Up Palmer Group will be hanging the Purple
Yes.
Heart flag banners either the 17th or the 24th,
Right.
depending on weather.
Yes.
If anybody wants to help hang,
Yeah. So the Purple Heart banners are amazing. I partner with Light Up Palmer to vet the veterans that come, that say that they are, their family members come to me and say that they are Purple Heart recipients. And we try to figure out if they are, and if they are, they have their banner. It's amazing. I've been to their, putting up the banner. So if it's the 24th, I can't, but the 17th, I probably could. But it's an amazing way to honor, our veterans and the Purple Heart, recipients.
I have a comment on that. About 4 years ago, I saw those banners, and there was people that I knew that were Purple Heart recipients, and they weren't on there, and I came and I spoke to, it was a male, I forget who the guy was.
Yeah, I understand.
And he went through the paperwork, and he says, yeah, this one's here, this one's here. I even had him go to one of those monuments at Monument Park there between Converse and
Yep.
Thorndike Street to verify it.
Yep.
And I can't believe that after all these years, nobody has taken the time to go through every single paper.
I have an answer for you.
Huh?
I have an answer for you.
You do?
Yes.
What's the answer?
So there are people that I know that are Purple Heart recipients, but unless they want their name out there or their family wants their name out there, we can't move forward and do that for them. There was a gentleman, for example, who was at the AMVETS, and finally, I didn't do it, but finally I was told after years of this person saying, you really should do this. You earned this. You received this. You should have your name up there. Finally this year they're doing it. But we cannot go through and look at everybody and put their names up there, because it's kind of like we're outing them. They may not want that. We can't put a name or a face out there just for the population. Kind of think of HIPAA. You know, there might be reasons why people don't want to talk
Some of
about.
these people aren't alive, they're deceased.
Right, but then they'd have to have family members.
Their family doesn't
Yeah.
have no clue.
Yeah, well then make them aware, and then have them come see me. That's what happened
Yeah.
with a few
How
people.
many would you have? Probably maybe 200, maybe 300? That
Oh, I don't
should
know.
be able to go through every file.
If I had the time, I certainly would, but unfortunately, I can't put the names forward and contact the people because it's like I'm going through their personal records. I can't do that. I can't go through everyone's personal record and then go to the families and be like, listen, this is a good idea, you have to do that. But Grandpa Joe might not have ever talked about his service because maybe there are reasons why he didn't want to talk about his service.
Yeah, but
I understand. I believe
At least reach out to.
I believe that everyone should be honored for their service. I served. My family served. I believe that everyone should be honored for their service, but everybody's story is different. And they may not want to even think about that time in service.
I agree.
So, right.
I agree. But
So-
like I said, they're deceased, and if, you know, they were deceased before these banners started going up, so.
Right. Well, the families have the opportunity. You have the opportunity. You've been here for a very long time. I'm sure you know many of them. So if you do that and you get their permission, then you can come to me and I will certainly give it to the Light Up Palmer and I will take care of that for you and for the family. But I appreciate you.
If I came in personally and said, this guy passed away and he
Yep.
was a Purple Heart, because if you go to the cemetery, you see their stone
Right.
and it says Purple Heart.
But then you would have to take that to their family and their family would have to come to me to give me permission to do that. So I hope that happens. I hope we can fill up a bunch of streets so that we can honor these veterans because they deserve it.
Okay, we're gonna.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on, and so if you have any questions, you can just reach out to Tina directly, and she can help you. Okay. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Tina.
Thank you, Tina.
Thanks, Tina.
Good job.
Our next update is an update from the library, Stephanie Mahar, who is the library director.
There should be enough there, but anybody else wants a sheet? Do you guys have enough sheets over there? Everybody got one?
Got plenty.
Okay.
You got extras. Thank you, sir.
I don't. No, I'm just gonna go.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, Steph, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm Stephanie Marr. I'm the director of the Palmer Public Library. The first thing is, at the very top, I just put some QR codes. So one's for our website, one's for our Palmer Villages Palmer Voices, which is our local history project. That's a QR code to our YouTube channel where you can watch the videos from the families who have already submitted their stories, which are really amazing. And then the next one is our youth YouTube channel. So we have all original children's programming on our YouTube channel, which is really fantastic, and I hope you check it out. The first thing is that we just celebrated 20 years in our building. So, yay, yes, which is fantastic. And we had a party, and I brought t-shirts and tote bags for anyone who'd want one. So we had a little over 100 people show up, which was pretty great. And the weather wasn't that good, but despite that, we had a nice party and lots of cake. And it was really great to see everybody who came out and celebrated with us. The first thing I want to highlight is the Thomas P. Budnick gift. So the board of directors has engaged a professional financial advisor, and the money a good chunk of it has been put into an endowment fund, and the rest of the money is in a what they call like a guided fund. So that money has been used, some of it has been used to completely upgrade the technology in our community room. So that had not been touched for 20 years. So we still had a CD player, a VHS player, wired mics, and a sound system that was not very ADA compliant. So we now have a full technologically advanced community room, which is really wonderful. We've got wireless mics, we've got a brand new projector that you can connect to wirelessly. And we have some assisted hearing devices, and people can also connect with their hearing device directly to the sound system through Bluetooth, which is really wonderful. The next thing that the money is going to be used for is that It's wonderful that the building is 20 years old, but there's been lots of changes in what the library is used for and how we use it and what the community needs. So we're going to hire a professional to come in who we have some advisement from the Mass Board of Library Commissioners to help us with this, sort of reassess the space and figure out what we might want to move around, what we might want to change, how we might want to rearrange things so that the space is better used for us. So that's pretty exciting. So that's what we're going to be doing next. A big project that I want to highlight is the Community Wellness Program, which began in January of 2024. It started with a memorial service outside the library for an unhoused patron. And I had noticed for a long time that we were getting people coming in asking us very important questions that as librarians we didn't necessarily have the answers to, and the best we could say was, here's a phone number. And we felt like we weren't doing enough. So at this memorial service for an unhoused individual who used the library every day, I walked up to Sergeant Burns at the Palmer Police Department. He'd been introduced at this memorial service, and I said, "Hi, I need your help." And he is the DART officer. And I said, "I would love it if you could come to the library and have some office hours and meet people face to face who might be facing some pretty serious issues and connect them with people who could help them directly." And he said, "Great." And that was in October of 2023. And since then, the program has grown immensely, and we have a huge group and a huge network of professionals who work in public health, who are substance abuse counselors and recovery coaches. We have domestic violence advocates. We have people who come from Bay State to help with Medicare and insurance questions. And it just keeps growing, which is amazing. So we've had about 300 visits in the last year and a half. And we now have the Bay State Wellness Bus, which they call the WOW Bus. And they come once a month and they do free blood pressure screenings and give out blood pressure cuffs. They do free diabetes testing, and they help people get doctor's appointments with primary care physicians. I'll be going on next Monday to present at the Mass Library Association's annual conference about this program to help other public libraries get programs like this started. And Sergeant Burns is going to come with me, and we're going to have someone come from CHD, who is the domestic violence advocate, and we're going to sit on the panel and we're going to talk about how we got this all together and how other communities can do this too. Thank you.
Question on that. So how do people in the community know that this exists?
Yeah, so
Especially if they don't visit the library, right?
sure. We do put it up on our social media pages, and so does the police department. And then the people who work for these organizations like CHD, BHN, and some of the other organizations, Bay State, they also help spread the word. But we have put it in the paper. We don't do that every time, but maybe we should do that too. But we can certainly do more outreach when it comes to that always. Like, that's always a challenge. So the town has also, I think the town page has also shared it too, if I'm not mistaken. So, but yes, it's on our website. And if anyone comes in, we're always happy to help. We have flyers everywhere all over the building. But yes, if you know of anyone who needs help, you can always just direct them to the library. And any of my staff know about this program and can help direct them and get them the information that they need about when to come. Just some quick stats. This is for FY24, so I won't get the stats for this fiscal year that's ending until about August or July. But we had 1,190 meeting room bookings. We have over 300,000 items in our collection, and we had about 94,000 checkouts of library materials in FY24. We had a little under 60,000 people visit the library, which we're on track to surpass this. This is sort of like post-COVID. Last year was like our first real year back where people were really coming back to the library. So we're already on track for FY25 to be more than that. And we had over 254 programs for all ages, and 6,435 people attended programs at the library in FY24. And then I just wanted to highlight the next big thing that's coming up, which is summer reading. And we have a kickoff party on June 26th from 1 to 4. We've got indoor and outdoor mini golf. So we have this great guy that brings a mobile mini golf course to the library, and you can play mini golf inside the library if you'd like. We have face painting, and anyone who signs up for summer reading gets a free ice cream cone from Rondo's. So Rondo's will be there, and you can have a free ice cream. And there's no age limit. I got asked that earlier today. Even adults can have ice cream cones for sure. And we have programs for babies all the way up to seniors. We covered the gamut in the summer, and we have movie nights in the park, which we're really excited about. I don't have all the flyers, a lot of flyers, but I just wanted to show you guys. So we're doing a movie night in the park. So there'll be a movie each week in the park coming up for free. And it's a project by our youth advisory board. So they are all very excited. This is a group of middle school and high school kids who came up with this idea and are very excited to put it on, and they're going to be there. It should be lots of fun as long as it doesn't rain.
Can you just say the dates?
Oh, yeah.
Of the
The
park
first
and
one
which park?
is June 20th at Legion Field. The next one is July 11th at Hernevitz Park. The next one is August 1st at Endelson Park. And the last one is August 22nd at Old Mill Pond School. It's at dusk, which sort of changes as the summer goes on. But if you get there roughly, it's at the park. So if you get there early, you can play and hang out, and there'll be concessions and all that stuff. And you can wait for the movie to start. And the movies are Barbie, Dungeons and Dragons, Howl's Moving Castle, and Lilo and Stitch. So there's a little bit of something for everyone in those movies. So
Clearly me.
So one thing I just want to make you aware of,
Yes.
and I don't know if Brad has communicated with you, but the Hernevitz Park is tore up at the moment.
Yes.
There's construction materials there. They're doing the big project on Maple and Maple Terrace.
yes.
Even from the chamber point of view, we're looking to relocate our events too, because
Okay.
there's just so much going on in the common, and that area is really not conducive to gathering at the moment because parking is going to be impacted.
Right.
So
Okay,
just
we could-
something to keep an eye on. You might want to get in front of it.
Yeah, we might want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, no
we'll
problem.
figure that out. But yeah,
Which one's the Barbie movie?
that one's at Legion Field on June 20th.
Like the new Barbie movie, right?
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. The live action Barbie movie.
My favorite movie.
Does anybody have any questions?
I mean, I have a couple of comments. I think you guys are doing really excellent work at the library. And I think between this, okay, can we just shut that laptop? I'm getting very distracted by like this TV flinching.
Just flashing.
I think between this presentation and the veterans officer that we just saw, it's so clear that we have department heads that truly care about the people in our community. And I get really excited seeing you guys present all of the wonderful things that are going on, and connecting with the people in our community who need the most help. So I just want to say thank you so much for all of the work that you guys do, and I'm really excited about the presentation that you guys have coming up, to share this with other communities. That's going to be, I hope it catches on and becomes, the thing that other communities do. But I just hope that everybody here and at home watching recognizes that we have so much going on in our community, so many positive things going on in our community, and that everybody takes advantage of the different programs we have going on. But my one question was, so out of the 94,000 items that have been checked out, does that include like e-books type?
It does. Yep. Some of it does. Yeah. We still do a good clip in physical items. There's a couple reasons for that. People prefer physical items for the most part, overall. And the other issue is that there's a big problem with e-material and libraries because publishers make it very prohibitive for us to provide e-materials. So there isn't a public library in the state, or probably in the country, that has enough e-material to meet the demand. And that's because they charge us a huge amount of money for an e-book, because their argument is, if we buy a physical book, a James Patterson book, and it goes out 20, 30 times, it's going to get damaged and we're going to have to replace it. Yeah. So they charge us about, roughly, anywhere between $125 to $160 per ebook. Wow. And there's only so many licenses attached. So that means it can only be checked out so many times before you have to pay that licensing fee again. Wow. Yeah. Because they are concerned about the fact that it's kind of never going to wear out, right? It can go out to, so that's the problem. So there is legislation in the state right now that the state government is trying to sort of force publishers to be more fair to public libraries, because you could go on Amazon and get an ebook for free for $3 or whatever, and they're charging us way more than that. And e-audio is even worse. Wow, yeah. So we're still doing most of our business in physical items. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Phenomenal work.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Steph, one more thing, though.
Sure.
So I just, there's been a lot of comments on Facebook lately regarding just the lack of things to do in the community. And so, I mean, obviously, like, this is like a great lineup of different things. Do you partner with the school to get that message out?
We
or-
do, yes. We try our best, yeah. So the school, so if we send anything over to Mr. Francis' office, they put it up on their Facebook page for us too, on their Facebook page too. So we try our best to get it out on
I think
social
too,
media
if we can, if we can get that information, like even reminders of it, right, when something's happening.
Yeah.
So one of the things we've been discussing is like cross-posting. So like so if someone follows just the PD, for instance,
Right.
right? They cross-post something. Our
Yeah.
fire departments cross-post something. Where those comments, Three Rivers Chamber, for instance, like just really partnering with all those people so that they get the post and then they post it out on their stuff and then share. And, a person like Dave who's going to then see it and then he's going to post it on all the Facebook pages that are for Palmer. And so, I mean, I think we really got to work on doing that and the reminders, whether it's, a week before, 3 days before,
Sure.
the day before, just so
Right.
that we can try to get, because there is a lot going on. It's just, it's that whole thing of how do you get people to be aware of it and not the day after.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah, that
Okay.
sounds good.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item is Stormwater Management Plan, and we have Ty and Bond to give us a presentation.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I gotta
How
get
are
it.
you doing?
Let me get it up and working again.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not gonna get that TV to work again.
That's good.
That's fine. Sorry. That's on.
You have it.
And we'll go to.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. As long as it's not like twitching in front of my face
I
anymore.
was like, is it shutting off?
It was fine earlier. It worked through Sue's presentation, then went haywire.
Well, good evening. My name is Kelly Crumrine, and this is Haley Rivers, and we're from Time Bond. We do your stormwater management program, and this is our annual update. What is the purpose of this presentation? We provide an update on Palmer's ongoing stormwater management program. We are currently coming to the end of permit year 7. So we review the accomplishments achieved in that permit year, activities for the next permit year, and a little look ahead to future permit year requirements. And then any feedback on, your guys' thoughts on the program itself. What is stormwater? Rainwater that falls on paved surfaces and lawns becomes stormwater. If it doesn't soak into the ground, it heads for the nearest storm drain. Storm drains feed to outfalls that dump stormwater into waterways. When stormwater picks up trash or chemicals, that is considered stormwater pollution, and stormwater pollution is the fastest growing type of water pollution in Massachusetts. EPA's small MS4 stormwater program, and MS4 stands for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. Tongue twister. Jointly administered by the EPA and the Mass DEP. Palmer's MS4 area includes all the drainage within the urbanized area, which, if you can see that's the bottom map, the red area. So it's really just like the heavily developed parts of Palmer are included in that program. We submitted the notice of intent under the 2016 small MS4 general permit. That was done on October 1st in 2018. You received the authorization to discharge stormwater April 22nd, and it expired in June 30th of 2022. However, they administratively continued the permit on May 16th, 2022 until the new permit is issued, which it still has not been issued. There was some slight buzz before the election, and then it kind of fizzled out. So we still don't know when it's coming. Yeah, so then your stormwater management plan, we update every year. So that's in the works for this year. The minimum control measures that go into the stormwater management plan include public education and outreach, public involvement and participation, illicit discharge detection and elimination program, construction site stormwater runoff control, stormwater management in new development and redevelopment, and good housekeeping and pollution prevention.
So, hello, I'm Haley. I do a lot of your stormwater fieldwork for the illicit discharge detection and elimination program. Hi, Rich. Palmer has a couple of TMDLs, which stands for the total maximum daily load, and that's especially for nitrogen. Palmer is within the Connecticut River watershed, and the Connecticut River discharges to Long Island Sound. And Long Island Sound is impaired for nitrogen, and therefore, within the state of Massachusetts, Palmer has to comply with the total maximum daily load. In addition, you have a couple other pollutants of concern in Palmer. You have fecal coliform, where you're discharging to the Quabog River, and you have E. coli, where you're discharging to the Quabog and the Chicopee Rivers. Some of the stormwater work that we do is to sample at certain outfalls and to check for any pollutants of concern, discharging at extremely high levels at those outfalls. A more comprehensive permit year 7 in review for Palmer. This includes a lot of public education and outreach. You don't necessarily do a lot of it like yourself in-house, but you have memberships with the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, which has a Connecticut River Stormwater Committee, which stays up to date on every single piece of messaging that has to go out throughout the year. And so this includes things like trying to remind residents about proper disposal of leaf litter, proper disposal of like dog waste or other pet waste. And it just goes throughout the year and tries to be really timely in that messaging. And in addition, your stormwater management plan gets updated every year, and the link to that update is on your stormwater page on the town website. And then your IDDE program. So there are 3 different phases of field work. The first one is complete. That was screening every outfall during dry weather conditions. As of this year, we have completed your second phase of stormwater field work, which includes, we call them dry weather catchment investigations. Basically, we go into town at key places within the stormwater system, and we sample at manholes and catch basins. And we have completed that for this year. We did have one suspected illicit discharge, but we are working with the DPW to work through that and investigate it further to confirm whether or not it is an illicit discharge. And from there, we will be able to advise on next steps. But all things considered, it is the first sign that we've had of anything amiss in Palmer, so things are going very well. We also did a really significant desktop review of all of your outfalls. We had some lag in mapping because you were a combined sewer system, but now it's separated. And so we had some outfalls that were abandoned, that were still listed as active in the stormwater system. So we conducted a desktop review of a lot of your as-built records, and we were able to determine whether a lot of those were either active and still in service and therefore needed to undergo maintenance, or if they were abandoned and shut off and therefore weren't part of your system anymore. Lastly, we conducted wet weather outfall sampling for 60 outfalls over 7 days. And that means that we had wet weather and significant rain conditions, and we were able to collect a water sample at every single one of those 60 outfalls, send those to the lab, and confirm whether or not they had high amounts of pollutants. And that report will be coming out before June 30th. And all that being said, field work will be expected to continue in future permit years until the entire system has been screened as per the regulations. Additionally, one of the requirements of the permit is to update your construction site and post-construction stormwater management ordinance. We have prepared a draft of that for you in previous permit years. It seems like at the moment, town staff are reviewing that draft and will let us know of any revisions prior to it going to a public hearing or becoming part of your law. Unfortunately, this is about 2 or 3 years late for the permit, so it is something that we recommend getting on so that the state doesn't start to put pressure. In addition, despite the fact that you haven't yet passed the ordinance, we have done a lot of the other components of that part of the permit so far. So in 2022, we completed a BMP retrofit analysis. BMP stands for Best Management Practice, and the idea is that you have like a rain garden or another piece of infrastructure that like filters and treats stormwater before it's discharged to the environment to try to absorb some of the pollutants that may appear and may be causing concern in some of your water bodies. So that retrofit analysis and the nitrogen source ID report identified different municipal owned properties in town that it would be possible to add that sort of infrastructure. However, you do have a BMP at the Forest Lake boat ramp. We are unsure if that counts towards the requirements of your permit, as the permit only covers the regulated area within town, and unfortunately that boat ramp is less than 1/4 of a mile outside of the regulated area. However, it does discharge to other impaired waters in town, so we think that Mass DEP and EPA would accept it. However, there have been talks of a possible partnership with the Pathfinder Regional School to try to install a rain garden at Town Hall. And considering that like the 2024 draft permit that would like continue these requirements has a focus on continuing to install these BMPs to treat stormwater, we would highly recommend that the town look into this as an option and try to move forward with it. Especially because the permit moving forward will ask that every single one of those town-owned properties have some kind of stormwater management at it at some point, even though because it's being continued and we don't really have anything set in stone yet, we don't know what the timeline for that would be quite yet, but you know, it is a best practice and it's something we recommend.
That's me.
Yep.
Okay, so one of the other things in the permit is to continue with good housekeeping and pollution prevention. So that is your catch basin cleaning and inspections, the street sweeping. I'm not sure how often that is done. Is that once a year?
Today, we thought to do
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Palmer does a lot of street
Yep.
sweeping. I think it's required twice a year, but I
Yeah.
think you regularly exceed that.
Yeah. And then just implementation of operations and maintenance programs for municipal facilities and activities, so transfer stations and places like that. So these are, so the current permit extended out through 10 years. So there are like planned coverages for out years. This is just, this isn't like anything specific. It's just, there's a lot of these same practices that we are continuing in each year going forward.
Yeah, and I guess that being said, every single one of those bullets was something we've kind of already covered. At this point, there aren't any like new reports or like special things required. So it's just maintenance of the current programs that you have going, and that includes your public education and outreach. So you're going to continue to have the memberships that handle your public messaging, the public involvement and participation. We continue to plan to do this annually, and of course, like, continue to have information on your website or things available if people should come to town hall. And of course, like, if there are any other opportunities to include any stormwater practices, we encourage you to go for those. And if you ever have a question, we're available. We work for you guys. For your IDDE program, your first 2 phases of fieldwork are complete, so hopefully that means that we really don't have very much left to go. And I say hopefully just because with the wet weather screening, we need really specific conditions. We need more than 1/4 of an inch of rain within 24 hours. And that's mostly there because we know from experience if we don't have that, we're not likely to get the samples we need. So we got a lot of rain this year, and that was great, and we are hoping that continues. But we have also screened all of your outfalls for system vulnerability factors, and that tells us whether or not an outfall needs to be screened during wet weather conditions. And that is, I think, like 90% of Palmer, because just being a combined system is a system vulnerability factor. So with about 207 outfalls, we have our work cut out for us. So we're going to continue those in permit year 8, permit year 9, and permit year 10, which I believe brings us to June 30th, 2028. So we're just going to keep doing that incrementally until we're all done. And lastly, with your stormwater ordinance in current review, the one that you currently have in place, you are performing and tracking like site plan reviews, inspections, you're doing enforcement actions on any needed like construction projects or anything in town that would trigger the stormwater ordinance, and the update is in progress. So at the moment it's in your court, and if you need any help with it, if you have any questions, please reach out to us, and we're happy to advise you as we can, since we do this for a couple other communities as well. And then for your good housekeeping, your pollution prevention, and permittee-owned operations, basically you're just going to continue that program. You're going to continue clearing out your catch basins and cleaning them, continuing to just do your regular maintenance on the stormwater system itself, and of course advancing any potential projects for BMPs in town, as we previously mentioned, and just keeping a record of everything that you're doing. So I guess in summary, you are actively working to meet the requirements under the MS4 program. There will be an annual report for permit year 7 due by the end of September. I believe September 28th is like a Saturday or Sunday, so they might push it to like the 30th or something like that. But either way, we're aware of it, we're on top of it. We'll make sure that that gets out on time. And the current MS4 general permit has been administratively continued until 2028 or until a new permit is issued. So until then, you're just going to continue with your annual reporting. We're going to continue with your IDDE field work, and we're also going to continue making GIS mapping updates to your system as we have new field observations or as we continue to conduct desktop reviews. And if any new permit requirements come to our attention from the draft permit, or if that goes into effect, we will let you know, and we will let you know how that impacts your community. So, are there any questions for us? Yes?
The outfall analysis, is that something that's made available to Palmer residents?
The analysis that we conducted was just whether or not an outfall had a system vulnerability factor. That's defined with certain criteria within the permit. I believe we will have a list of outfalls in the report that we submit with the annual report that states like the current progress with each like outfall in each catchment area that the outfall is draining from. So that should be available publicly. All of the annual reports are available publicly. and we include those memos in every stormwater management plan update.
Okay, where can I find those?
Those are on the town website. If you search like Palmer MA Stormwater, the town webpage comes up, and you can read through all of it. There's also like a page on EPA that has like the notice of intent that allows Palmer to discharge stormwater to the environment, and that I think also includes every single annual report that's been submitted.
Does their
Yeah.
GIS mapping have their outfalls?
The GIS mapping has all of the outfalls, but I'm not sure that Palmer has made its stormwater mapping like publicly available yet,
Okay.
and that's because the idea is that by the end of permit year 10, you should have like an absolutely complete picture of what you have in town, and at the moment, it's still a little bit in progress. So I don't believe the map in and of itself is made publicly available, but I believe in other reports we've included like PDF maps of what like the current state of the mapping
progress,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like the actual like web app, but when you look for the stormwater management plan or the annual reports, you should be able to find something that shows like a basic version of the stormwater mapping in Palmer.
So the only thing that we're behind on right now is the stormwater ordinance.
The stormwater ordinance and questionably the BMP, because the BMP was a permit year 6 requirement, and like we personally think that if we like submitted to DEP and said, hey, like they have done this and we did list it in your annual report, we think that they would consider it complete, but it is a little bit of like a contingency thing, and we think that if you went for like the BMP at Town Hall, it would just put you on much more secure footing.
Okay.
Both are on my radar too. I'm working on it
Yeah,
right now.
so the stormwater ordinance, so that was like 2-ish years ago that you guys were here. And I think that it was sent to us to approve, but nobody on the town level had reviewed it.
There was some personnel
Yeah, well, we were,
changes during
right, we
that
were in
time, yeah.
flux, yes.
Yeah.
So I actually thought it came back, but then as I'm sitting here listening to you, I'm like, yeah, it probably didn't. But I guess my question just is, that ordinance that was presented by you guys back 2+ years ago, everything in it is still adequate, like if we move forward with that, or if you were, so we don't have to worry about that there's areas that need to be changed?
No.
Not that we're aware of. I
Okay.
don't think anything significantly has changed for that requirement.
Okay.
Yeah, the only piece I'll mention though is we've had a lot of staff turnover that actually are like reviewing that right now because
Yeah.
they may have their own ideas on how it rolls out. So it's in conservation and in planning right now for their review.
Okay, yeah.
This was the proposal to us,
It was
but the
2.
permeable.
There are 2 of them.
Right, it was permeable surfaces and something about charging a fee for permit, and that we were like, no.
Right, but this one came forward to go on an agenda,
Okay,
and I pushed back because nobody had reviewed it.
got it.
So I wanted staff to review it, but I think that was when we had an interim before Brad got here. And
Yep.
so, yeah, it just kind of fell off my radar, but yes, but they had drafted 2. One was this one, and the other was if we were gonna assess a.
Yeah, that's like a
fee.
utility, they
Yeah,
call it.
which we're not moving forward
Yeah,
with that
yeah.
one, but yeah,
Right.
okay.
I had a quick question on TMDLs.
Sure.
So, because the rivers just happen to flow through town, does it take into account that there is a treatment plant up the river in another community that had in the news a discharge that happened to, flow downstream? Was that taken into account when you guys do the TDML, or just because it's in Palmer and it has higher ratings, then that just means that we own it?
So, I believe the idea behind the TMDL is that we're actually not even like looking at the Connecticut River itself. We're looking all the way down at the Long Island Sound. And so I think the idea is just holding every single community within the watershed responsible for what you are discharging. And so that's why I'm sampling like at outfalls. And basically like what is coming back is like you really aren't discharging from your stormwater system like those pollutants of concern. And so the work that I'm doing is essentially confirming that these aren't necessarily coming from you.
From our community. Right,
Yes.
got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're at the head of the Chicopee, because we start the Chicopee River
Yeah.
in Three Rivers. So that's why I was like, why is the Chicopee River on here if we only have such a small portion of it and it gets so much bigger downstream?
Yeah, and I mean, I think the idea behind it really is that we just consider what pollutants of concern are available in like each water body, and we're doing a lot of that field work to check to make sure, oh, I didn't just sample this and it's coming back ridiculously high for like fecal coliform or E. coli or nitrogen. Or something like that, which could be attributed to like a nearby farm or something like that. And maybe at that point, the town just increases some of its messaging of like proper practices and how to mitigate against that. Or maybe we decide that that would be a really great place for a BMP so that stormwater gets treated before it gets discharged. But I mean, your sampling is going to show what you're actually like discharging to these water bodies. And that's why we do this work.
Awesome. Yeah, because the rivers are such a huge resource for us.
Yeah.
And it could be a possible resource for recreation in the future, and we obviously don't want to, put people in harm, right? So.
Exactly.
Anything else? Okay, well, thank you for coming.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Hi, Dave.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is Citizens for Fair Energy Pricing Letter. So if you remember at our last meeting, we had a presentation on, or comments, I shouldn't say presentation, but comments on the energy pricing, and then a request for us to submit a letter to Governor Healy regarding the cost of energy pricing. And so there was a draft letter of support that was given to us, as well as a letter that was going to be submitted from the Citizens for Fair Energy Pricing, their petition. And so Brad did put together a version of the letter that was submitted. I don't know if everyone had an opportunity to read it, but I would be looking for a motion to approve that letter, which is the first item on in the packet.
Yep, I make a motion that we approve the letter of support.
Okay, motion by Matt.
Second.
Second by Jess. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Thanks for coming in again.
Thank you.
Can we receive a copy of your letter?
Yes,
How do we do that?
I'll email to you.
Okay,
yeah,
great. Thank
Awesome.
you. Thanks so
great.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, next we have loan authorization, 2025-03 for $2,228,000 for the wastewater dewatering improvements. And this is, you want to talk?
Yeah, this is the third time I think this has come across to your guys' radar here. So just when we went through bond council, what was determined that was approved, I think back in 2022 or 23, the initial one, because we had initially borrowed for it and then returned the money, because the project at the time didn't move forward. For whatever reason, we borrowed it. We closed that out when what they deemed it that we would actually need to reauthorize it. However, in between that, when we initially brought this forward to you guys, maybe back in February, their opinion was because it was already approved, you didn't need to reauthorize it. But now once they found out that we actually took a loan out for a short period of time, closed that out, their best practice, they told us, is to just reauthorize the whole amount. So this is not asking for a new $2.2 million. This is just reaffirming what you already have approved to date. So again, I know that's a lot of, that's a mouthful, but at the end of the day, this gets us back on track where we need to go for the borrowing purposes. And it's not a request for new money that this council has not approved before.
Right now, we have two authorizations out there. The first one that was borrowed and then paid back. And then we had the additional funding authorization.
For just over 200,000,
Okay, so now both of those are gonna go away,
correct?
and now we're gonna have this
You're
one.
gonna have one.
But we
Yep.
probably should rescind the second one for the 200,000.
It's part of.
Oh, it says it in
yeah,
here?
It's the bottom.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, let me read it, since Mark's not here, and this is the first reading. All right. So, that the town appropriate the amount of $2,280,000 for the purpose of paying costs of designing, constructing, reconstructing, and equipping a centrifuge sludge dewatering system, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto. That to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the town manager, is authorized to borrow said amount under Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7-1, or pursuant to any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes of the town therefore. All or any portion of the amount authorized to be borrowed by this order may be obtained through the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust, and in that regard, the town manager or any other appropriate officials of the town are authorized to execute any and all agreements that may be required to obtain financial assistance through the trust. The amount authorized to be borrowed by this order shall be reduced to the extent of any grants or gifts received by the town on account of this project. Loan authorization 2025-02 that was approved on February 10th, 2025 is rescinded and of no further force or effect. Okay, so that's the first reading. We'll have the second reading and the public hearing at our next meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We'll put it all in one.
Yep. All right. Subcommittee reports. Anyone? I gave mine at the beginning of the meeting. Okay.
Not yet, but I know that the ordinance committee has stuff to review, right? Or will soon have stuff to review?
So the ordinance, so there will be, well, let's ask that question. So have we gotten any interest from the public to serve on that ordinance review?
I have not gotten any emails. I have not gone through, we have a folder right now that all the mail ones are coming in. I have not gone through that one, but I can tell you I have not received a single email for the policy subcommittee for the ordinances.
That's what you were speaking of, correct?
Well, I know that that was on the table, and then I thought there was an ordinance, the one that I brought up about commercial vehicles parking in, that we were gonna sit down and review that ordinance.
Yeah.
And then when I brought that up, Brad said, it's a year, 0 or 5.
Right.
We need to review all of the ordinances and put together a committee, but I haven't heard anything since that last meeting, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, so we're supposed to appoint people at our meeting in June so that they can hit the ground running in July.
So one more month, looking for volunteers.
We started on July 1st. We appoint on June, start on July.
Are you on that are you on ordinance?
I am on the subcommittee. Yeah,
Well,
I think it's me, Chris, and Phil.
Yeah, so, I mean, you guys could have a meeting just to do that, to start that other one going.
The,
Because that's not, that wouldn't be a review of the current ordinances.
correct,
so we
that's it,
should-
right.
Yeah, so I would say you could start that all
Right,
rolling.
and we're expected to see the stormwater ordinance too, right? That comes through us? At some point?
Yeah, it will eventually. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Anybody else on subcommittee reports? I will just bring up during, so probably next week, you guys will all be getting the review document to review Brad. And then that review should happen at the June meeting. So, yeah. If we have to push it out to July, we will, because I think we have at least 2 people that aren't going to be at the June meeting. So, but that document is going to go out, and then I will, offline, I can explain to you how the process works, just because you haven't been part of it yet. Okay? All right, so.
5 stars only.
So we will, but that's going to go out probably next week, okay? All right, town manager's report, Brad.
All right, so I got the Commerce Middle School one all set. I just want to thank everyone who participated in our community cleanup day. One thing I will say, and this kind of falls in line with what you mentioned before, is we need to do a better job marketing our events. The turnout was a little bit lower than I had hoped, but I also think too, just sending out information about the pollinator garden coming up. I'm capturing a lot of staff at the schools and students who actually might have like community service hours. So again, just making these connections is going to be huge for our staff to develop these partnerships and really engage our community. So I'm excited for what the future is going to bring on that, but I appreciate everyone who came out to help for the cleanup day. Opioid survey cards are going out. There was a couple different things in the paper. Just so everyone is aware, all residents are receiving a card that I believe has a QR scan to take a survey, and if you take it, you're eligible for a $5 gift card. I don't know logistics on that, if you have to pick it up at the Board of Health office, but if you take the survey, you are eligible for that. And this is extremely valuable feedback that we desperately need because we have a lot of opioid money sitting here and that we want to find what the best uses are in the community for us. And this feedback will help push those items forward. So please, please, please fill that out for us. The Hernevitz project is starting tomorrow, so work is officially, they're starting field work tomorrow. I know they've been housing items there for a couple weeks now, but that'll start tomorrow. Fuel assistance is still available, so please, if you are eligible or you have any question on eligibility, please reach out to the Community Development Office to see what you are available for funding for. The Palmer Public Schools track dedication for Lisa Domnarski is set for tomorrow at 3:30. All are welcome, so please feel free to join if you can. And then also Palmer High is participating in the American Cancer Society Relay for Life program. This event will be held at Lavalette Field on June 6th from 4 to 10 p.m. And if you're interested in this event, you can visit relayforlife.org. And 4 is spelled out F-O-R. It's not the number 4 if you go on the website. And then you'll be able to click Town of Palmer, and it'll give you different membership packages if you want to sign up for a membership. So please, if any businesses in the community are interested in sponsoring that, you can go that avenue and check that out. And that was all I had.
No questions for Brad? No. Miscellaneous correspondence, anybody have anything? No. Counselors Roundtable, anybody have anything? So I'll just bring up, obviously I brought it up at the beginning of the meeting, but I think that it could be very valuable to have a presence at the senior center. So I'm hoping that everybody will be willing to, take turns going. And so if we do that, it's literally probably 1 or 2 times in the course of a year that someone may need to go. And so my thought process was that I wanted to have a conversation with Marlene and Brad to see like what's the best time to do it, whether it's first thing in the morning, mid-morning, early afternoon, just so that we can go in. And for those of you that like work in town, kind of have a discussion about what works better. I mean, I know for myself, I would prefer to have it in the morning because then if I needed to, I can just go to work. But is that something that you guys think would be beneficial or?
Early afternoon is better for me.
Okay, but maybe when you do it, we can do
Right,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah.
No coffee for you. It's afternoon.
I already had it. And
What were you gonna say though, Matt?
That's what I meant. If coffee with a counselor, probably aim for the morning.
Right. Yeah,
yes.
well, I mean, I was thinking even if it was like, I don't know how early the center opens or like what they do, or what things they have going on, but, if they have standing events that are like first thing in the morning, I don't wanna disrupt their whole day, I just wanna fit us in at some point that kind of makes sense, but, okay.
Thursdays seem open, so.
Apparently, yeah. Okay.
I didn't get that at first.
I was waiting for somebody to say something.
Anybody else for roundtable?
Nope.
Okay, we are going to adjourn from formal session. We're going to go into executive session, which, under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, Number 3, which is to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. I so declare. This will be union negotiations for Palmer Police, NEPBA Local 071, Palmer Police Dispatch, UFCW Local 1459, and the DPW and Administrative Unit UPSEU Local 424M. We will not return to open session. I'll take a motion to enter executive session.
Make a
Motion by
motion.
Matt, second by Jess. This is a roll call vote. Matt?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Jess? And I vote yes. Okay, good night. Thank you.